Welcome back, metalheads and rockers. Underground Noise is back once again with a webisode in your faces. Hey, I'm encouraging you guys, subscribe to the channel, like it, share it, comment. Don't be a chicken of shit. Come on, help the underground survive. Tonight, I'm here with Jason Castoro. He's from a slew of bands. One of them happens to be Magic Bullet. Another is Zolta Brain, and another one would be called Jason Castoro, and also a Roman numeral one. Welcome, Jason.
How you doing, Al? Thanks for having me.
Hey, you're welcome. I'm glad you're on the show tonight. Thanks for being
Me too.
a guest.
We've been trying to do this for a long time. I'm glad it's finally happening.
Yeah, it's been a while. Just been really busy with so many people hitting me up at once. I'm totally swamped. People are saying, "Where's my review?" And I'm just like, "I'm sorry." Interviews have been hitting like me like gnarly, kind of like you're gonna root or something done.
I was, your channel's blowing up. It's everybody wants to get on. I can understand. That's great.
Yep, anticipation.
Congratulations, by the way. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's an achievement over 3.5 years of organic growth, getting that many subscribers. And people are like, "You don't buy your stuff?" I'm like, "Why cheat yourself?"
Yeah, that's amazing.
Do it the right way, or don't do it at all.
Of course.
Yeah,
That goes for anything in life, right?
absolutely. So the first question I'd like to ask you, Jason, is what does that Roman numeral one translate to? Because I'm not really good with Roman numerals anymore.
I have been waiting for months to answer this question for you. Yes. Okay, that band is actually my high school band. Buddies of mine, all the way back in high school. We our first band that we had, we started in the basement, the drummer's basement, like most bands do, and we were together for 4 years, all throughout high school. And we were very good. I mean, it's we made some recordings, and I felt like, wow, we really have something special here. So, and we went through every name in the book, man. I mean, we played at the high school, the Battle of the Bands concerts that they would have there. We actually played a couple of gigs, some local places back then, and we went through every name in the book. And one by one, we found out this was taken, that was taken. So, all right, whatever. But then, it came to an end eventually, and we went off our separate ways. I went to college and this and that and everything else. So fast forward about, I would say, 20 years, and I reconnected with Steve, the drummer, and Frank, the guitar player, who lives out of state now. Steve still lives here. He's local. We still get together. Obviously, we get together. Frank is actually in the Midwest, and but we're still in contact. So when I started getting all this stuff going again, it was largely due to just being stuck at home during COVID. After a while, you're home for so long, you start going stir crazy, and you start coming up with ways to stay busy and occupy yourself. And I revisited my music because I had all this stuff that I had recorded and written years ago that was just wasn't doing anything. It wasn't going anywhere. It was on old CDs and old cassettes, and music that I had written was in boxes and bags in the closet and stuff. So I said, let me just pull all this stuff out and get something going with that. So to answer your question, before I go any further, the Roman numerals actually stand for the years 1992 to 95. So literally it's 1992 to 95. And those were the 4 years that we were together. And I picked that as the name when it came time to release all this stuff, on YouTube and through all of the streaming services like Spotify and everything else. Because, like I said, every other name was taken. All the good names were already taken. So I said, well, what could we do? What kind of a name could we come up with? So I just said, you know what? How about the years that we were together, but like in Roman numeral form? So it looked kind of like, cool or cryptic or whatever. And, it worked perfectly because you had no idea what it meant. It was cryptic. It gets people thinking or wondering what it might mean. But that's literally what it means. It means 1992 to 95, the years that we were originally together in high school. Not to date myself. But so that's what I settled on. Also, it works out because the first three letters, MCM, are our last name initials. My last name being Castoro. My drummer, Steve, his last name is Maffei. And Frank, the guitar player, his last name is Murata. So MCM could also kind of stand for Maffei Castoro Murata. So that works out too, in my own mind. It's how I make sense of it.
No,
But
that's really
that's the answer. that's the answer to your question, right? I know I started going off on a tangent. There's just so much story to tell behind all this stuff.
Oh, that's all
Um,
good, Jason. That's all
yeah,
good. I was going to
yeah.
tell you that's really clever. You're clever like MacGyver.
Oh my God.
Although you're not taking a pack of bubble gum and making a bop 'em.
No, no, I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't go that far to, presume I'm as good as MacGyver, but clever once in a while. Yeah.
Well,
Um,
you might be able to take shoelaces, make a musical instrument out of it. I don't know what you would call it though.
you know what? I had to dance around with a tennis racket, pretending it was a guitar for almost 3 years before I convinced my parents to buy me a guitar and get me lessons. From the age of about 9, they finally gave in when I was 12 and said, okay, obviously he loves this, he wants this, let's take a chance. Although I had to make a choice because I was also playing Little League at the time. I love baseball. And they said, well, you can't do both, you got to do one or the other. So you could tell which one I chose. I went with the guitar instead of the bass. I played 3 seasons, that was good enough for me, and I never looked back.
What was the first instrument you picked up? Was it guitar?
Well, throughout my young years, my like elementary school, I was always singing. I was always in chorus, in school and stuff like that. And then the first real instrument that I got my hands on was the guitar when I was 12. Yeah.
With me, it was this recorder. Then I learned how to play clarinet. Then I started playing guitar, and I'm just like, I love guitar.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I never played recorder in school, and it's weird because that's such like a typical traditional elementary school instrument. But I never played that when I was a kid. I've since taught it. I'm a music teacher. That's my full-time day job. But I've since taught it, but I never played it myself until I was much older.
Nowadays, I experiment with so many different instruments, and I'm learning how to play the kalimba.
Oh,
I'm
the
not,
thumb piano, right? The kalimba.
yeah,
Yeah, that's cool, man.
yeah, it's so relaxing and such. I mean, it's
Oh,
one of
yeah.
those soothing instruments that just does something for your soul. It just gives you some inner peace.
That's
I
right.
just
That's
love
right.
it. Now,
Yeah.
back to baseball. What baseball team's your favorite?
Uh, let's go Mets. I'll leave it at that. But not this season. They're pretty terrible this season. I'm sorry to say. The Yankees aren't doing too well either. But yeah, I'm a Mets fan.
Rhino said that he was going to call me in a few. Well, Rhino, I'm on Zoom at the moment. Sorry you're missing this podcast tonight. But yeah, it's funny that you mentioned the Mets because I'm pretty sure you remember back during the Subway Series, someone walked up in front of the camera and says, "Hey, what's your favorite team?" And this one guy's like, "Oh, the Mets." Well, you know what the Mets stand for? My entire team sucks.
Yeah, yeah, we get that. Every once in a while that comes back. They can't really use it when they're doing well, but this season that totally applies.
Yeah,
Totally.
I call, I've been calling the Yankees the Wankies lately.
I call them the junkies.
Well, they got too many rings. They got too many championships, I guess.
Yeah, but you can only rest on your achievements for so long. You got to keep it going. You got to keep winning.
That's right. Well, let's focus on the task at hand. Um,
Yes.
what guitar brand do you find to be your favorite? I use Ibanez and BC Rich myself.
Yeah, my first guitar was a battery powered Terminator guitar with a built-in speaker from Toys R Us. And after a year of pounding the hell out of it and learning, Metallica songs by ear and, that kind of stuff, really getting good and getting into it. My parents got me an Ibanez RG 750, like a classic 80s Ibanez with the shark tooth inlays and all that. It was black. I still have it. My son plays it. It's held up for over 30 years. It's a great guitar.
That's excellent.
Yeah. And after that, I think I had a Randy Rhoads Jackson Flying V, the offset, for a little while, for a couple of years. I think I ended up selling that one.
Was it
And
was it the polka dot pattern?
no, no, it was the one like Kirk Hammett used to play. It was like
Oh,
black,
okay.
yeah, with the shark fin inlays and just a straight, the regular Randy Rhoads black offset Flying V. But the Ibanez was really my main guitar in those days. Throughout high school. Yeah, that was my main axe. And then once I got into college, things changed considerably. I discovered jazz, and most importantly, the biggest impact on me musically was I discovered Frank Zappa, who I had never heard of prior to that. And it really just completely changed my whole view, my whole perspective, my whole opinion about what was possible and what music could be. And I was just amazed that, he was successful, he was famous, but he wasn't like mainstream. A lot of people had never heard of him, and I just couldn't understand why. He was just every album that I started listening to was like one was better than the next. It was like so amazing to me. It really changed and influenced me, much like Ozzy and Maiden and Metallica had influenced me earlier on. This was like the next step for me, which then leads into the formation of Magic Bullet. That was during college. And way different. I'm sure you've heard some of the stuff, much different, not metal, but with traces of metal, rock based, but really out there, variety, different styles. I was experimenting with different styles of music. I picked up the bass then, and I was getting more into playing the bass, which has, in the last 25 years really has become my main instrument. I'm a bass player, first and foremost. Obviously, I still play the guitar. It'll always be, in my blood since I'm 12. I could play guitar. I teach guitar, but the bass is my main instrument. And I also took up piano in college. So I play piano, I play keyboard. And I always had that creative spark for writing. So I write all my own music, every song from all of the bands, all the albums that are on my YouTube channel and everything. I write all the music myself, everything. With the exception of maybe one or two songs where I share writing credits with other people. And I share lyric writing credits with a few other people, just on a few songs, but mostly it's all me. It's all me. And that's really where my real passion is, writing music and, creating and getting it out there and sharing it with, these band members of mine who are just, now lifetime, really, really great, close friends, almost like family. It was nice getting everybody back together after so many years.
Ah, here he is. He's late, but he's finally made it. Here comes Rhino. But yeah, I was really happy with you know, the album to 1985 with Love, because for me,
Yep.
welcome Rhino.
Welcome.
Hey,
Yeah.
Rhino.
Hey man, how's it going, dude?
All right. How you doing?
Doing okay. Got my time screwed up. Old
Oh.
age.
That's okay. You gotta stop listening to Limp Bizkit. That'll do it every time.
Oh, come on.
Yeah,
What are you saying? I have bad vibes?
Yeah, I think you got the hots for Freddie.
Oh yeah.
And I don't mean Freddie Four Fingers.
Oh, give me 2 seconds. I need my headphones.
Yeah, you might want to get your hat warmer while you're at it.
Oh snap.
Yeah, you might want to get that head warmer. But what I was going to ask you, Jason, is the song Retrogrades and also My stuck out to be my favorites off this album.
Yes.
And it's interesting because it's almost like you're in the DeLorean, you're going back to the future. And with the song My, it reminds me of some punk rock a little bit too.
Yeah. Yeah.
You want to elaborate more about the song My? I read the lyrics to my mom and she found them to be quite hilarious. She's like, that's funny, Al. There's no vulgarity in it. I said, well,
No.
I'm glad you don't like the vulgarity, but still, hey, we all
Yeah.
like what we like, right?
That's a challenge. I challenge myself by trying to, be creative and funny and interesting without trying to be vulgar. It's a challenge, because it's just so easy to do that, and a lot of people like hearing that kind of stuff. It's just a personal choice. But that song actually, I got up one Sunday morning at like 7 a.m. I'm an early bird. I was up at like 7 a.m. and I just had like this little tune in my head. And whenever I get an idea like that out of nowhere, I have to capture it before I forget it. So I set up my phone and I grabbed the bass and I just filmed myself recorded playing this little thing that I came up with. And then I just started feeling it and listening to it more and hearing more in my head. It was starting to grow. And, eventually, within a few hours, I fleshed out a full melody, a full section. And then there's the rhythm of it, the rhythm of the riff just sort of put these words in my head, like just some silly, completely like out of nowhere doesn't make any kind of a sense. My family thought I was nuts because I started laughing. I was making myself laugh at 7 o'clock in the morning. I woke my family up. What are you doing? And I told them my idea, what was going on, and I shared. And they were like, "You're nuts! What are you singing about? It's crazy." It's just one of those things. It just happens spontaneously, and then boom, you apply a little bit more effort to it, and then that's the end result, the song that you have right there. That's it.
Yeah, I totally dig it, man. Totally dig it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, I was going to ask you if you had a guitar nearby that you'd like to show me.
I actually do. Yes, I have one right here.
Cool. This is the segment. This is the segment in the show that we call "Show Me Your Axe."
Okay. This is one of my favorites. This is from my Epiphone Gothic series collection. It's the Les Paul model, right?
That's nice.
Pretty.
They put these out in like 2007 or 2008, and I customized it. I put a little graphic on there. 667, the neighbor of the beast.
Isn't that from the band called The Leftovers? They had an album. They had an album called 667, The Neighbor of the Beast.
It's possible. It's possible. I don't think that's what that is. It's just like a generic sort of bumper sticker joke type thing. But yeah, it could be. I never heard of one. It's like that, like evil, but not 100% evil, but like just right next to evil, sort of. And it just looks cool. I actually also picked up the Explorer and the Flying V of the same series, so they have those three right next to each other. It's really cool. The Explorer is really my main axe, though, from that collection that I use mostly for the metal recordings and stuff when I do guitar. Magic Bullet, Mike, my guitar player Mike, he handles all the guitar tracks. He did on to 1985 with Love. I did all the rhythm guitars on Invaders from Earth. Invaders from Earth was the double CD, the double album that I made with all the bands together and sort of like a various artists compilation. And like I said, that was sort of like the reunion album. MCM, Roman numerals, that was from high school. Magic Bullet was from college. And Zolta Brain was like after college, post college, where I got together with a few of my other friends. And, I had this idea about doing some sort of instrumental prog rock type thing. Late 90s, we were kind of into Dream Theater and other kinds of bands and stuff, but even getting more creative compositionally. So that's what sparked the whole idea of Zolta Brain. And fast, and we played a few gigs, Zolta Brain, over a couple of years, and then that sort of just went away. And everybody moves on, they work, they move on to different things. Everybody started a family, we all have kids now. So it was nice, like 20 years later, to bring everybody back together. Everybody not only was willing to be a part of the project, but they were still able. Everybody had kept up their chops. Everybody could still play. Even Steve, my drummer, who's a lawyer, he still finds time to play drums, and he still has his kit set up in his house. And he was like, literally, to no pun intended, he never missed a beat. He kept his drumming skills up all these years, so that was cool. And like I said, Frank, the guitar player, was out of state, but he recorded all of his tracks at home and emailed them to us, the solos. He did all the lead guitar stuff, which was so cool. The technology and the do-it-yourself aspect, like you and I, we have our YouTube channels. It is so easy now to do all this kind of stuff on your own. Release your own music, record your own music, get it out there on the streaming services. Say what you will about Spotify and all the other stuff where artists get cheated out of royalties. They don't make as much as they used to. But in terms of exposure and being able to get your stuff out there, it's never been a better time than now for the independent artists really to just get it out there.
High five to that answer.
Yes.
Totally agreed.
And like I said, during COVID, I was bored. I felt like I have all this music that I recorded with these bands that I felt was good enough. That some of the stuff that's out there, it's like, man, my stuff is, I could put my stuff out there too, and just give it a chance to live. Whether people love it or hate it is completely beside the point. I mean, it's satisfying, creatively satisfying to just do something and just get it out there. And then I had a bunch of unfinished stuff too, which is basically what Invaders from Earth is. Leftover stuff and unfinished stuff from 20 years ago that I finally got around to finishing, and got everybody back together, and we did it, man. We did it. And then the goal after that was, well, hey, listen, we did this great thing here. We all got back together. Now I have a vision for each band after, like post Invaders, and to 1985 with Love was the first of those post Invaders ideas. I always wanted to do some sort of an album that was based on 80s music. I love the 80s. I love 80s pop, 80s rock, MTV generation, when they actually played music videos. That's, I grew up, I was a kid during all that time. So it means something special. There's a big nostalgia factor involved. So I set out to write songs, write an album sounds like it maybe could have come out in the 80s, but is still kind of new and kind of fresh, And also, this is the first time where I wrote the music with the band members in mind. In the old days, I would write the music, and if you could sing it, great. If you could play it, great. If not, I would probably try and look for somebody else. But I was always blessed with such wonderful bandmates and friends. They're friends, and all like I said, almost like family at this point.
Really cool. You got to have that chemistry.
Yeah, and the massive talent that my friends have and my bandmates have, it's just I felt like we need to do something. We're too good to just sit and do nothing, So it was some of that too, and I wrote the songs with them in mind. I was picturing and envisioning what it would sound like, how to best showcase them. My brother is my drummer for Magic Bullet, my brother Damon.
Yep, I saw that. I didn't know if he was your brother or your cousin, but
yeah, he's my brother. He's my little brother. He's as tall as I am. We're both 6'4", 6'5". But he'll always be my little brother. He's my drummer for Magic Bullet and Zolta Brain, and Steve is the drummer for MCM Roman numerals.
And before I hand it over to Rhino, I was going to say to you, with a name like Zolta Brain, it almost sounds like a Pokemon character.
You know what? Yeah. That was another thing where I was trying to come up with a name because all the good ones are already taken. So I'm like, well, if I can't find a name that's good, that's available, let me just make up a word. Let me just make something up that if I make it up, the likelihood that it already exists in the world by somebody else is very slim. So it started off with the name Zoltan, and then somehow the word brain got in there, and we were thinking something like Zoltan's brain or Zoltan's brainchild or something like that. And then I just, through just the process of, brainstorming, brainstorming, we combined the two words together and Zolta Brain, and it was a completely made up word. And it didn't exist anywhere through rigorous Google searches and everything. It never came up anywhere. So I'm like, okay, I guess that's available. I just made up a word. I created a word. So that was cool. And it's funny because during a rehearsal one night when we were active, Zolta Brain was active from 2001 to 2006. We were at a rehearsal one night, and one of the guys at the rehearsal studio was like, oh, are you guys, I forget what nationality he was, but he said, are you Croatian or something like that? He said, because that sounds like a word in my language, Zlata Brana, which means Golden Gate, Zlata Brana. I said, no, I don't think so, man. I don't know. I don't speak that language, and it's probably similar, but that's not what it means. But it was funny that it almost sounded like a real word in a different language to this guy. So, but as far as I know, I made it up. So
that's really cool. Let's see what Rhino has for you tonight. Jason.
What do you got, Rhino?
All right. First and foremost, is there anything you'd like to confess to Underground Noise Webzine?
Confess? Wow. Anything I would like to confess? I gotta admit, this question is catching me off guard. Anything I'd like to confess?
That's the goal.
Yes, I will confess. In the mid-90s, due in large part to the influence of my mom, I was heavily into Yanni.
Our first confessor.
Yes. And that also helped me, get into wanting to learn how to play the piano, which, turned out good. So thanks, Yanni.
All right. What is the symbology of the banana and the car?
It's completely random on purpose. just three, the banana, the piranha, and the Camaro. They share syllables. They fit the rhythm of the riff that I came up with. Um, it may have even been just temporary lyrics at first, just like a placeholder until I came up with the real words. But then, you have them for so long, it just starts to stick, and it's like, wow, maybe I'll just keep these words, and it just worked comedically. It just started to click because of the randomness of it and the zaniness of it. I was painting a picture. First, Jessica's going shopping, at the supermarket, and she's buying a banana. She's singing about my banana's a big banana. It was just funny to me. And believe me, they looked at me, more her than anybody else, like I was crazy. Even Jessica, my lead singer, looked at me like, Jay, what the hell are you writing? This is, but no, trust me, it'll work. And it worked. It worked. The piranha was just another, then she's off to the pet store. I had these visions of, oh, we're going to film the video. We're going to go to ShopRite. We're going to go to Stop and Shop and film the video, and then go to Petco and film the video, and go to a Chevy dealership with the Camaros. By the way, I just found out recently that Chevy discontinued the Camaro, which I was like, wow, what like, I mean, I just put out a song singing about a Camaro, and now they're discontinuing them. I thought that was kind of, weird timing, coincidental timing. But really, it was just, just random, zany, comedic, nothing that you would expect or be able to really predict. But it works. And like Al said in the review, which I still am grateful for, it's catchy as hell, and that's all it needs to be.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, it throws you off guard because you're not expecting to hear about a banana or a piranha or a Camaro.
Yeah.
And you
much less all in the same
does
song.
Not sell piranhas.
What's that?
I said PetSmart does not sell piranhas.
No, they do not. They do not. But I was grateful for the stock footage that I found. Yeah. When I made the video, I was grateful for the stock footage.
Let me put you on the spot now.
Okay.
The Beatles or Elvis?
Oh, Beatles, 100%. Yeah.
Good. I like you.
I love Elvis. I really gained an appreciation later in life. Years ago, my cousin, he lives in Tennessee, and he got married, and we went down to the wedding in Tennessee, and we had a day to hang out. So it was we could either go to Graceland or the Jack Daniels distillery and take the tour. So,
and you picked Graceland?
No, we picked the Jack Daniels distillery.
Okay, cool.
Of course. Yeah. All right. But I always said, I want to go back one day and go to Graceland and check it out. I have an appreciation for Elvis. We met him like 5 times in Las Vegas when we went there, on vacation, my wife and I, one year. He was at every hotel. It was amazing. He really gets around. But yeah, I haven't appreciated, but the Beatles are just, otherworldly. I really liked the Beatles when I was a kid, because I was still into like Metallica and Slayer, the heavy stuff. But like I said, when I got older, I gained an appreciation for them. And I used it in my teaching with my own students, because I'm a music teacher. The Beatles are very influential.
Oh, nice.
And, it just, the Beatles forever, man. Beatles forever.
So you're telling us, Jason, that Elvis was in the building.
Literally, yes.
He didn't leave it just yet.
No, he was in the building. He was in every building.
Elvis stole most of his music.
I think when people say Elvis has just left the building, I think they're saying Elvis died. Does that make any sense? I mean, it kind of has that weird vibe to it for some reason.
Yeah, it could be interpreted that way. Sure. I mean, anything can be interpreted anyway.
Yeah, it's a bit fucked up, but hey, that's how I see it.
Yeah. I have to put this out there because you put Metallica and the Beatles in a sentence. My buddy James has a band called Metallica. You should check them out if you haven't heard them. They've fused the two.
I've heard of them. Yes, that sounds like a great combo. Well, Metallica were called the Beatles of speed metal, I think, at one point early on. So it's fitting. Yeah. Metallica. That's cool.
I'll still listen to Megadeth nowadays, other than the new Metallica. Because the new Metallica, to me, I don't know. It's like they lost their touch when they came out with Saint Anger.
Well,
I mean, Megadeth. Sorry.
To me, Saint
Megadeth, you
Anger.
cannot sing. Sorry.
No, well, yeah,
The
that's
music's good though.
Dave Mustaine's voice is very unique and it's an acquired taste. You either like it or you don't. It works for what he does, especially the earlier albums. Um, but Metallica, Saint Anger, I felt like that was them trying to break their commercial shell that they had developed in the 90s by going way the other way, like uncommercial, like raw, I almost cursed, crappy sounding.
You can
You can
swear.
curse here.
I know, but I don't, that's just me. Um, and it was them trying to get back into their, like, to me, that was their Let It Be, like the Beatles' Let It Be. That was like Metallica's Let It Be. But then
Less
they
than 1 minute.
reinvented and they came back with Death Magnetic, and it was a real return to form. And every album since, Death Magnetic, Hardwired, and even the new one, really is, sort of saying
72 seasons.
yeah, 72 seasons. Really, the best they could do in the old style, considering the age they are too. I mean, they're in their 60s now. So
What I would like to know is this much. When did James Hetfield turn into the cowardly lion from The Wizard of Oz and starts talking like Randy Macho Man Savage?
I will tell you when that happened.
Slim Jim, brother. Oh, yeah.
That happened in 1994 when they played Woodstock. That's exactly when that happened.
Bad.
1994, right before they cut their hair and made Load. Yeah.
Hey, let's come. We're talking with Jason Castoro from Zolta Brain, MCM 92 through 95, Magic Bullet, and of course his solo project tonight, as you guys know. And Jason, I got to tell you, man, we were just talking about Metallica and Megadeth, trying to make comparisons between the two. But with me personally speaking, I don't mind Dave Mustaine's voice, even though he does kind of sound like a whiny little kid that didn't get the candy bar.
You cannot sing thrash sounding like a neutered chipmunk.
Yeah, for real. Just like the Pied Piper. You know what I mean?
Well, it works for him. I mean, it's a unique sound. You could definitely tell him apart from Tom Araya or Bobby Ellsworth, or any of the other great frontmen of thrash bands, Joey Belladonna, is a very unique sound, unique voice. I'm trying to be diplomatic.
There we go.
A lot of people have their preferences, but personally speaking, I like his guitar playing over James. Although James, I don't know, he seems a little bit happier when he's on stage for some reason because he smiles.
Well, he's also rhythm, so.
Yeah, pretty much.
There's no question that Dave Mustaine is the superior lead guitar player, and all being technically proficient. I think he definitely is more technically proficient, and compositionally, his writing is a little more evolved and complex and interesting. Although Megadeth, they seem to pump out albums more frequently, which sort of becomes like like a can of Coke after a while. It's like, same old thing. You know exactly what you're going to get when you open it. They start to sound the same after a while. Overkill's another group, a great band. I love Overkill. We just saw them too. They played in the parking lot before the Metallica concert at MetLife Stadium in Jersey. I filmed that whole thing too, put it on my channel. You should check it out.
I love Overkill. Met those
guys.
Amazing. I met those guys the day after my birthday back in 2006, actually.
Wow. That's cool.
Yeah, they still mind blown.
Where's your Jersey accent?
They still kick ass, man. I'm not from Jersey. I'm New Yorker.
Okay. I just heard that.
Yeah, New York.
Long Island.
Get
out of here.
Precise. Yeah, Long Island.
Forget about it, Frankie. She took off the money and I don't want nothing no more.
That's more Brooklyn, really. That's Brooklyn. That's not really Long Island.
Yeah, that does sound kind of Brooklyn.
Old school Brooklyn, yeah.
Like a gangster or some shit, like you're a mobster of some type of crazy mafia or some shit, Fucking hey, man, that's so wild. I could do that for days. It's so easy.
Yeah. Growing up in the New York City area, you pick up on a lot of different accents. It's really, there are so many cultures, and Queens, especially where I was born and raised before I moved out to the island. Queens is one of the boroughs of New York City. It's very diverse. You pick up all sorts of cultures and customs and languages and things. It's really cool.
Yeah, I used to do comedy down in Manhattan quite a lot, so I picked up on it quite easy
Yeah,
growing
yeah,
up and stuff, just doing side jobs just to make a few extra bucks as a kid, you know.
sure, sure.
Yeah. What
Someone's got to do
venues
it.
did you hit up in New York as a kid and
Uh,
so forth?
Let me see. Well, the first concert I ever went to was Judas Priest, the Painkiller Tour, 1990. That was Nassau Coliseum, so still Long Island. But then, of course, Madison Square Garden, huge venue, world famous. I've seen all kinds of concerts and shows there. Jones Beach, another great venue. Smaller venues, I've seen a couple of shows at like, um, what the name escapes me. I'm trying to think.
Did you get what CBGBs, Maxes,
Oh no,
Lamar?
thank you. Yes, okay. No, Irving Plaza,
Oh
CBGB's.
yeah.
Actually, we played at CBGB.
Oh
Brain.
shit.
Zolta Brain played at CBGB in 2003, like 2 or 3 years before it shut down. So we actually got to play there. I mean, it was a Monday night. It was kind of empty, but we still got to play there. That was cool,
Yes.
And it was just as dirty and disgusting and broken down as all the pictures and everything that you had ever seen of it. But it was great to just go there and play. Oh, La Barbat was another one. La Barbat was a good gig. We actually played a gig there the night before Thanksgiving one year. And that was a great night because everybody was out partying, the night before Thanksgiving. Everybody was off the next day. So it was a good party night, good night to play a gig. But yeah, CBGB was legendary. First time I went there, I was a kid, middle school.
Oh shit.
Me and a bunch of friends actually, we cut out of school. Here's another confession: we cut out of school, and we hopped the train to the city and went down to the village, and we were hanging out by CBGB's. There was a record shop right next door. That's where I discovered like all the hardcore bands like Agnostic Front and the
Yes.
punk bands and things like that. So that's
Hold
where I
on, you
got
got
into
to
it.
throw in Cro-Mags. They're my dudes.
Of course, Cro-Mags.
Agnostic Front, some good shit. I love
Yeah,
those guys
They're not
too.
Cro-Mags, but
yeah, no.
No, but they're both good bands.
Well, they had that album live at CBGB. That's classic,
yeah.
with the Doc Martin boots and the American flag and everything. That was classic stuff, man.
Heck yeah, you got to have your moments, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Every moment counts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jason,
But yeah, there were lots of cool places around the city. Obviously, the scene is very different now.
Oh
Um,
yes.
Very different. Um, Speaking to, I don't know if you were going to ask me about like playing live or anything, but the scene is very different and very tough out here on the island. Unless you're a tribute band or a wedding band,
Yep.
it's
Yep.
virtually impossible to really gain any traction if you're trying to do original music, which is my main thing. I feel like you've already heard those other songs. If you just listen to the radio or listen to the iPod or listen to stream it if you want to hear that stuff. Yeah, I'm all about new music, fresh music, original music, and it's a tough market. It's a tough market
Yeah.
live.
That's all over. They want those cover bands, and what I will say is they attract the women, which is important because
Yeah,
otherwise you get sausage metal.
if well, yeah, if that's what you're looking for, sure, it serves a purpose, I guess. But like I said, from our perspective, we're all happily married with families and
Yep.
everything. We're not really into that yet. But yeah, I get it. I get where you're coming from with that. It's just a shame that more people, aren't like, they just want to keep hearing the same thing over and over again.
Yep.
And I get it. The nostalgia, it makes you feel like, when you were younger, and it brings back memories. And I understand the value of that, and I can appreciate that. I wrote a whole album based on 80s music that my passion for 80s music. But, we need new music as well. And it just,
Yes.
it has to be young artists, up and coming bands, carrying the torch. We have all these legacy groups that are still around, still putting out new albums and stuff, and that's great. That's great. But people are very close-minded when it comes to new music from independent, unknown artists, especially
Yes.
newer, younger bands. It's a shame, really. It just doesn't seem like they can get as easy a break as they could in the past.
as long as these, as you say, legacy bands, as long as they're willing to bring in young talent to open and get seen, I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
It's good to get some recognition. That brings me to my next question for you, Jason. Speaking of, performing live, which is a huge deal to every musician, including myself, I was going to ask you, if you could play in front of a crowd of 30,000 people with your dream band, what dream band would you choose and why?
Dream band, like a famous band?
Yeah, like say your all-time favorite band of all time. Who would you like to be sharing the stage with?
Do they have to be alive?
Yes, they do.
Well, okay.
You could make a hologram out of somebody if you had to. You know what I mean?
Well, I wouldn't be honest if I didn't say, my own band. I would love to have that kind of a crowd, for Magic Bullet, or for Zolta Brain. And because I just love, my bandmates, my family basically so much that would be such a great experience for us. And I think they're deserving of that. I just think so highly of them. And I would want that for them, that experience for them to showcase and have that moment, to play in front of a crowd like that. But if I had to pick a band, like a famous band, one that I maybe grew up listening to, man, that's a good question. So many. I mean, I would love to jam with I would love to jam with Metallica, like Cliff Burton era with Cliff Burton. That would be amazing. Slayer, that would be cool to get up on stage and play with Slayer, that really fast, heavy stuff. And maybe I don't know. I never really thought of anything like that, playing with, if a dream band. I've always been so focused on my own, that in terms of that sort of a thing, thinking about playing live and where it could go. Yeah. Let me think about that, and I'll get back to you by the end of the interview. We'll keep that running in the background.
Okay.
I actually got to photograph and meet James' son this year. I think it was March. Castor Hetfield, he's a drummer.
Yeah.
And it like I was, you're meeting James Hetfield's son, and he's a shy kid. I don't even know if he was drinking age yet, but a great drummer.
Yeah, yeah. Well, in terms of bands and musicians that I've met, let me see. I went to an autograph signing one time at Sam Ash in Manhattan, Sam Ash Music, and I met Charlie from Anthrax.
Died today. Sam Ash died today.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah,
What?
I think I read that. He passed away like
I didn't even know.
Yeah. The CEO, the current CEO. Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sammy Ash. Yeah.
Small world.
He was like the grandson or the great grandson of
Mhm.
of the original Sam Ash. Sad. Just time, man. Just, when your time is up, it's sad. But yeah, I met Charlie from Anthrax at Sam Ash. Took a picture with him. I also met Mike Portnoy from Dream Theater.
Oh, wow.
And then later on, 100 other bands that he's been in since. My brother, being the drummer, is a huge Mike Portnoy fan, and he couldn't make it that day. He was stuck working, so he said, "Oh, could you go get his autograph?" I said, "Sure, I'll go get your autograph, no problem." So I brought this huge bass drum head, and Mike Portnoy signed the whole thing, huge signature. He drew the Dream Theater logo on it. It was so cool. My brother was so happy, man. It was really awesome. I also met Slayer. I met Slayer at Sam Goody in Manhattan.
Oh wow.
With Paul Bostaph. It was right after they put out Divine Intervention.
Oh, that album sucked.
Yeah, well, it wasn't as good as their 80s stuff, of course.
It was hit and miss for me.
Yeah, but I'll never forget, they were giving out these promotional pictures of this girl with her arms, and she had carved Slayer into her arm with a razor, and then they all autographed that, and that's what they were handing out. I think my brother still has that. I don't have that. But so I met Slayer. I also met Howard Shore. He's the film composer who he composed the music for the Lord of the Rings trilogy and the Hobbit movies. Yeah, so I met him at a book signing at Barnes and Noble when they put out this book for the Lord of the Rings music. That was cool. That was really cool. Um, who else did I meet? Well, I went to high school in Manhattan, so we would always see famous people walking around. One time, I walked right past Jerry Seinfeld. Another time, Fabio, that supermodel from the '90s, Fabio. We saw him in the street one time. You see all kinds of people walking around the city. Um, but famous musicians. Oh, I also met what's his name? Oh, his name escapes me.
Name a song.
He's no, he's no, he does film scores and he was in he wrote oh, my friend is gonna kick me in the ass because I forgot his name. He's like a funk R&B musician composer. I can't think of his name. Anyway, I met him. He's the guy. He did the score. He did the score for Coming to America. I'm gonna kick myself in the. Hold on, I gotta look it up. I gotta look it up because there's just no.
You're
There's
allowed.
no.
Al, you did it again. You forgot to tell me to take off my head warmer.
Oh, sorry, Rhino. I didn't realize you had it on there, sir.
I got it. Nile Rodgers. I feel so stupid for forgetting his name. Nile Rodgers. He did We Are Family, Sister Sledge. He also, I think he did those, and he also did Coming to America. Lots of film scores, lots of funk music, and top 40 type stuff. Legendary guy in business. Legendary guy. I met him. Um,
I
and
gotta say it though. I gotta get it out.
yeah,
That movie, Coming to America, is one of my favorites, especially when they
absolutely.
when they wake up the next morning. Good morning, my neighbors. Hey, fuck you. Hey, fuck you too.
Yeah,
That's one of the best lines in any
yeah.
movie. And
That's the
after
New
that was
York.
done,
That's a New York greeting.
it is. And I'm going to tell you, they should have left alone after that. The second one sucked. I mean, the sequel, I didn't like
Yeah.
it. They should have just left alone after the first one and called it a day because that one
I know.
would have sold millions for years.
It's hard to come up with a sequel to such a classic film, especially so many years later. It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, but still, nothing's going to ever touch the original. Come on.
No, of course not. It's kind of like when you say, oh, here's The Exorcist, The Exorcist Part 2, Part 3, or here's Nightmare on Elm Street, or here's Police Academy 1 through 25,000.
Yeah.
Give me a fucking break.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't Jason wind up in space at some point in one of those Friday the 13th?
I'm not sure. Was he fighting Chucky?
That's when they're scraping the barrel for ideas. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
They stray so far from the original idea that it doesn't even resemble itself anymore.
Jason, I got a question for you. What size guitar pick do you like to use? I use a 1mm nylon.
I like heavy picks, thick, heavy picks. I don't know the millimeter. I never really paid attention to that. I just like heavy picks.
Okay.
Whatever heavy is.
Thick and heavy. Got it. Thick and heavy.
Thick and heavy. Yes.
That's awesome. Yes. Also, when you play Magic Bullet, what guitar tuning are you in?
Well, I play the bass for that primarily. It's standard tuning.
Okay.
Actually, for I think, well, for our song Spider Pie, which was one of our old songs that we recently re-recorded and released as a single for its 25th anniversary. That's drop D. That's drop D tuning.
That's cool.
And I dropped the bass also to match the guitar. Drop D tuning for the bass and the guitar. And I think there was a song by MCMXCII-XCV that we dropped D also. But other than that, it's either drop D or standard tuning. Yeah.
That's cool because my band Nightmare Trip only consists of 2 of us, as I was telling you before. Well, we play in drop C, but we also play in D standard.
Yeah. So that's cool. Hey, listen, it's a matter of preference. You get a different tone. It's what the kind of sound you're looking for. And it also helps vocally. Like if you have a deeper voice and you can't really hit many high notes, tuning down, helps you not have to hit so many high notes, and you could still sound like you have a powerful voice. Ozzy does that. I mean, he did that while he was still touring the last couple of years. You could totally tell, because you're so used to hearing the original recordings. When you went to see him live, it was like they were dropping it down like 3 whole steps. The whole, you could totally tell. But it still rocked. So
What you got, Rhino?
All right, I got to get this in there. It's one of my favorite questions. Any paranormal experiences you can tell us about?
I'm sorry. I wish I did have something interesting or juicy on that subject.
Oh, I'm
None
sorry.
at all. None at all. Nothing ever. I am not a believer in any of that kind of stuff. I enjoy movies that are based on that kind of stuff a lot, but no, in real life, no. I don't believe in any of that stuff, and I've never had any sort of experience at
All right,
all.
I'll throw out my
Now,
next favorite question. Um,
if you talk to my singer Jessica, you'll get a whole different story. She's very into that kind of stuff. Very, sort of
spiritual per se, yeah.
spiritual, superstitious, religious sort. So you'll get a whole different story from her, I'm sure. But me, no, nothing.
It's that time, folks. It's time for Rhino's famous question.
All right, you get to bring. Hey,
No. I was going to ask it for you.
Bring it on.
No,
Only
it's
fans
Al's.
or Pornhub?
Come on, don't fight, guys.
Yeah. I'll smack you so hard you're going to be facing China backwards, Rhino. Come on now. All right, he did it for me. Fair enough. But self-conflict is not allowed. No, it's Rhino's question. Only fans or Pornhub?
You're asking me?
Yes.
Oh my goodness! Wow. No.
Actually, I could be
Neither.
asking. I could be
No
asking
comment.
I could be asking your shadow, but I don't see it.
Hey man, I'm married. I'm a family man. Let's, next question.
Okay, I got a good one that I love.
That's actually his question.
You get to take two bands and/or musicians, past or present. You put them in a studio. They have to make one album together. Who do you put in there and why?
Let's see. Put two bands together to make an album.
They can be musicians. They can be past or present, but they have to come out with one album together.
You know what? I think it would be really cool and interesting if the Beatles, with John Lennon, of course, still alive, collaborating with Metallica. That would be something interesting.
That would be interesting. With that, I had to say I would sacrifice Yono with asking nothing in return. Al, what you got?
Well, let's see here. What's your favorite thing about being a musician, Jason? Me personally, it's just the energy that it takes to create the music and sharing it with the world.
Yeah, well, it's I love music. I love all kinds of music that I hope that comes through in my writing with the various types of bands and songs that I like to write, the variety of it all. It's just the satisfaction you get from, like you say, creating and putting your heart and your soul and devoting so much time and energy to creating something new and different that you can express in many different ways, and then share with the people who help you bring it to life. Your bandmates, and it's sort of a nice experience, a bonding experience where you get to share this thing and create it together and put it out there. In a small way, it's sort of like, hey, look what I can do, sort of thing, like, developing your talent and really, honing your craft, so to speak, and just, being the best version of yourself and doing what you love to do, following your dream, being passionate and invested in what you're doing, and seeing it come to life. Really, never mind if there's no commercial success or if, nobody likes it. That's completely beside the point. Just breathing life into something and that creative spark and getting to that satisfaction of creating and getting it out there and expressing yourself, and putting your talents to the best use and developing your talents, to their peak. That's really the charge that I get out of it all.
That's really awesome. I love that. That's exactly how I feel about it too, dude, because there's never enough music and there's always a variety. And if you don't have an open mind to variety, then where the hell's your talent?
That's right. That's right. I still find it intriguing that, we only have 12 different notes in our system of music, but there's literally the infinite number of possibilities in terms of songs and melodies and music that can be created. It will never run out. Of course, you'll have things that sound similar to other things from time to time, but you'll never run out of possibilities, and that's what's so great about it.
Got a few
With
more
that said, and
questions.
I probably have the answer: analog or digital?
Oh, please, no contest. It's analog all the way, man.
Hell
You
yeah.
know, digital might be convenient, with modern
Yes.
devices and stuff, but analog is just the warmth and the natural vibe and the tone and everything. There's no comparison.
The bonus octaves.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
nothing.
That's like tube or solid state. There's no comparison, man. Tube is in an amplifier, so much warmer and better.
There's nothing like watching those tape reels go round and round. Kind of like hamsters on hamster wheels.
Yeah, yeah,
Going
yeah.
woo! Here we go again.
I
My
have
cassette tape broke. Yep.
more than
Pull
one
out the
video
nail
that features
polish.
reel to reel.
That's amazing. It's good to have some old school 80s nostalgia stashed,
Yes.
Absolutely. Because the young kids, they discover this stuff, and a lot of it is still relevant. A lot of it is still cool. Like my own kids, they're in high school. They're and they're into a lot of the old stuff. I mean, we introduced that to them, but they don't have to like it. They get, oh, what's this crap? Get it out of my face. But they're into it. They're into a lot of the old stuff. Retro stuff. My daughter walks around with ripped jeans like it was just invented yesterday. Like, I hate to break it to you, honey, but people have been wearing ripped jeans for 40 years now. Come on,
Yep.
And 40, when we were kids, our mom sewed patches in our jeans.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, yeah. I remember that too.
Yep, same. That tells you how old we are.
Yeah. Hey, listen, man, age is just a number, right? It's how you feel.
Exactly.
Tell my body that, please.
Yeah, same.
I just broke my back, so.
Oh man. You've been wrestling again or something? What's going on?
No, I was at the gym trying to improve my health. I was doing the ab crunches on the machine and something went pop, and it wasn't the machine.
Oh.
So.
Oh man. Like Oedipus, you try to avoid it and you end up running right into it, right?
Yeah, diet and exercise will kill you every time.
Wow.
But I'm all good now.
Better. I hope you feel better.
Had the surgery. Yeah. My PT woman was hot as shit, so that was cool.
That helps.
Yes.
All right. Well,
Hey, Jason, what would you like to say to your fans that might be watching this? And also, would you like to give anyone a shout out?
I would love to give everyone a shout out. Hopefully, we can get them all in the next interview, the follow-up interview. I would love for you guys to meet my brother Damon and my singer Jessica and my guitar player Mike and my other drummer Steve, my drummer from another mother, as I like to call him. And maybe even bring in Jeff, my boy from Zolta Brain. Yeah. So that would be great. I'd like to give them all a shout out because I just, I've had such a blast with all of them, these past couple of years since we all got back together, creating all this new music, helping me fulfill my vision, my creations. Because, it doesn't go anywhere unless you have good people around you to help you bring it to life. So, like I write everything myself, but it wouldn't mean as much if I didn't have them to breathe life into it and to actually make it happen. Even though it's not live on stage, we're in the studio together, we're singing, we're putting it all together, and it really is something special. So I want to just give a shout out to all my peeps, Magic Bullet, Salt Brain, MCM, XCII-XCV, my boy Frank, who's a few states over in the Midwest, and oh, actually, we will be collaborating again. The next thing is we have a new single coming out next year. Steve and I and Frank, MCM XCII-XCV. There's a new single coming out next year. It's the last song from the old demo tapes from my old bedroom back in the 90s. It's the last song that existed that I never finished. So I finally finished it, and it's going to be coming out next year. It's going to be called Damned If I Do. And it's all about coffee and caffeine addiction and the love-hate relationship that can result from coffee and all. It leans toward the comedy, but it's also heavy and hopefully you guys will enjoy it. It's a heavy song, fast. It's cool, but with a little bit of comedic element, similar
That's
to
awesome.
My, but not quite as zany, So that's coming out next year, a new single from Metal
Excellent.
Band. Yeah. But yeah, this was great, guys. I mean, thank you so much for having me on, and look forward to the follow-up. I want you to meet everybody else. Yeah.
For sure.
Oh, and can I plug the website? Can I plug my website?
Please.
Yes, please
Yeah.
do.
You can find all my music and more information about all the stuff that I do with the bands at jasoncastoro.com.
All right. I'll literally put that up right there.
Sweet. Thank you so much.
Very awesome. We're glad
Excellent.
that you could be on the show tonight, Jason. It's been a blast.
Yes. Thank you guys so much, man. Can't wait to do it again very soon. Thanks, guys. Horns
Gotta
up forever.
say real quick,